Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Business Development from Start to Scale. We are in week 7 with the theme of branding and pricing. In this lecture, the 32nd in the series, we consider the topic of brand organization. Usually, a company has a strategic business unit when there are multiple businesses. Each SBU takes care of one business. However, an SBU will also require a functional organization. The typical functions in a company or an SBU are R&D, production, marketing, human resources, finance, and within the marketing we would have functions which are subunits such as marketing research, sales, advertising, sales promotion, and so on. These functional subspecializations helps marketing have a holistic view of the development of a product's journey from concept to customer sales, and also expanding that journey horizontally and vertically. Even a functional marketing organization can have a product organization structure to achieve marketing objectives. In this case, the marketing director has direct relationships with market research, sales, advertising, and sales promotion. However, there would be a group product manager who would be controlling three product managers dedicated for three products. Typically, a group product manager will oversee the product management activities of different products. We can also consider another methodology wherein marketing director would continue to have the sub functions reporting to him, but there would be a group markets manager who would look at different markets through separate marketing managers. In this organization structure, the focus of marketing is on driving growth through specific markets. Depending on the importance of products or the importance of markets, we can create a product management structure which is oriented towards products or towards markets. We can have a product or brand managed organization that which would be much more effective than the types of organizations I have talked about earlier, because product management is an integrated view of all the activities that are required to be performed to make a product journey perfect. Companies producing a variety of products and brands therefore often establish a product or brand management structure. This does not replace the functional organization but serves as an integrating layer of management. A group product manager supervises several product category managers who in turn supervise specific product and brand managers. You may have a product management head who looks after advertising, administration, sales promotion, actual sales effectiveness, marketing research, new products, etc. But you may also have a product manager who looks at some of the activities in greater detail and help the marketing head. A product management organization makes sense if the products of the company are quite different or the products are more than a functional organization can handle. This form is sometimes characterized as a nuclear organization too. What is the role of a product manager? Product manager is almost like a CEO or chief executive officer for the product. He owns the product. He has the responsibility and accountability to develop the brand. He is also responsible to act as a project manager, making sure that all the activities from pre-launch to post-launch and actual sales are well conceptualized, well planned, and executed as per a clear product plan. Therefore, the interactions of a brand manager or a product manager move across several functions of an organization. There will be internal coordinations required and external coordinations required. The internal coordinations are linked to manufacturing and distribution, research and development, legal, finance, market research, and sales force. Why is legal involved? Because you need to take brand registration. Your brand must be protected from the time you have conceptualized the brand name. And you have to make sure that your brand has strength and it has validity in the legal parlance by virtue of its use. And you have to protect the brand against flakes, against similar copycat brands, and various other spurious branding activities that are undertaken by competitors who have no scruples, and that is the role of the brand or product manager internally. But externally, the brand manager must be coordinating with the advertising agency, with the media, with the promotion services, with packaging, with publicity, and that helps the brand to be evolved and communicated with the customers through these various media. The pharmaceutical industry is well known for its reliance on product management concept to develop business. Sun Pharma, as I mentioned, is a therapy focused company, and it has conducted therapy focused marketing, delivering promotional message to specialty customers. At the core of such brand management has been to create divisions with distinctive names to handle different therapeutic specialties. Thus, Sun has Solaris for gastroenterology and orthopedics, different divisions of Arian, Azura, and Avia for cardiology and diabetology, oncology directly under Sun name Sun Oncology, ophthalmology under Avesta and Milmet, psychiatry and neurology under Synergy, Symbiosis, Sirius, gynecology under Spectraphy, rheumatology and dermatology under Ortus, asthma, COPD under Radiant, interventional cardiology again under Azura but Criticare, fertility, gynecology and urology under Inca Life Sciences. It is very distinctive and instructive that pharmaceutical companies have the corporate brand, then a therapy brand, and then individual branded generic products within each therapeutic vertical. Inherent in product management is the responsibility of launching a product through project management approach. Therefore, a product manager must have project management capability. There are four aspects to this project management capability. R&D interface, primarily to conceptualize the product and also understand the features. Second, manufacturing interface to assure manufacturing feasibility and plan. And the third one, intra-marketing interface to develop a total marketing plan. And finally, finance interface to develop cost, price, and budget parameters. At the same time, the product manager would be interacting with certain specialized divisions which provide inputs for all these four critical divisions. One, regulatory affairs for product approval, and also understanding the pathway for getting the product approval. Sourcing for ensuring that inputs are achieved. These inputs cover not only inputs for manufacturing but also for developing the detailing material, advertising material, visuals, flexi banners, and so on. And then you have human resources function which has to be coordinated with for Salesforce requirements. Ability to be first in the market and right to the market stems from a good product management structure. This product management structure, which has been perfected by the pharmaceutical firms, can be used in all FMCG firms where there is strong customer connectivity that is required. And the so-called group product management works very well when you think of product managers for each category of products. For example, soaps, shampoos, oils, that is coconut oils or hair oils, grooming products, and so on. So having divisionalization of product management is a very good step to ensure product management works effectively. We can conceptualize three types of product teams. One, vertical product team, that is, you have a product manager, under him you will have assistant product manager or associate product manager, and there would be product associate. Each of these people will be looking at different sub-functions based on the competence and capability of the individuals and the complexity of the functions. You can look at a triangular product team where a product manager is supported by associate product managers of two types. One, let's say, looking after research and planning, another looking after communication. That could be a triangular product team. It is little different from a functional horizontal vertical product team. You can have a horizontal product team wherein the product manager directly oversees a number of functions related to product management. It could be brand building, researching, planning, communicating, and data mining. The move from one organization structure to another organization structure, let's say A to C, happens as the complexity of product scale and scope increases. Product management has an important responsibility in terms of ensuring brand profitability. For that, all the physical and financial parameters related to a product have to be understood by the brand manager. He must keep a finger on the sales in terms of the physical units sold and the financial revenues thereof. There are several cost elements that are involved in the selling of a product. These include sales force costs, which are fixed, sales force incentives, which are variable based on the number of goods sold. Then there would be incentives for distributors, retailers called trade incentives. There would be expenditure related to advertising and events. There would be point of sale promotions in the kirana stores, in the retail chains. There would be direct discounts to customers. All these costs have to be netted off from the sales revenue to arrive at the gross profit. But at a company level, there would be interest that is to be allocated on working capital management, and there would therefore be a final brand profitability that arises. While this may not be a out and out financial calculation, it will be a kind of financial direction that the product manager gives to the marketing organization to ensure that the right expenditures are being made and the right sales are being achieved. A good marketing system will also differentiate between value adding expenditure and non value adding expenditure. You must also be cognizant that when you launch a new brand, all the expenditure you incur in terms of pre sales, promotion, advertising should actually be considered as an investment and not as an item of expenditure. That is very important. That's about brand profitability. But to ensure that the marketing machine runs in a very controlled, regulated way, but with proper flexibility, you need to have four types of control. The first type of control is annual plan control. In this, top management and middle management are frequently involved. The purpose of control is to see whether the planned results are being achieved. So, analysis of sales, region wise, territory wise, even retailer wise, distributor wise, and also in terms of product verticals. Then you need to understand the market share. You need to understand the sales to expense ratios. You need to understand incentives as a part of the total sales. Financial analysis of various parameters would be required. And we should also have market based scorecard analysis. The next is the profitability control. The prime responsibility for profitability control rests with the marketing controller. The idea is to examine where the company is making and losing money. So, profitability will be understood by the product, territory, customer, segment, trade channel, and order size. While this is for a product, category of products also can be analyzed similarly, and profitability across various categories also can be analyzed. The profitability analysis can be made market wise and also product market wise. The complexity of understanding financial performance of marketing is very paramount. Then we have efficiency control. In this line and staff management, marketing controller will be very much required. In this, sales administration personnel, data mining personnel, and marketing personnel will be of great assistance. The idea is to evaluate and improve the spending efficiency and impact of marketing expenditure. That would be arrived at by the efficiency of sales force, advertising, sales promotion, and distribution. For example, there could be metrics such as revenue achieved per person per month. In pharmaceutical industry, PCPM or per capita productivity per person is very important indicator. Similarly, in respect of a soap, the metric tons of soaps sold per month by a person is an effective indicator. Similarly, you can have the same metric in rupee terms. The fourth method of control is through strategic control. Top management and the marketing auditor would be involved in this. The idea is to examine whether the company is pursuing the best opportunities with respect to markets, products, and channels. For this, you need to have a rating instrument for marketing effectiveness. You need to conduct frequent market audits and brand audits. We need to understand the marketing excellence from time to time. We also must look at company ethical and social responsibility review. Times are going to come when the company's social responsibility is going to have a big impact on the marketing. I have illustrated in a previous lecture how Britannia's Homepreneur program has helped the company achieve greater stewardship in the CSR field and have collateral marketing impact. A good marketing control system should have a proper balance among all the four types of control systems that I have indicated herein. But there would be marketing metrics, and marketing metrics would cover sales and beyond. And the impact and effectiveness of each of the marketing actions will be understood by marketing metrics. There are sales metrics which are very usual and which are well understood: sales growth, market share, sales from existing products, sales from new products, debtors, collection period, warranty expense percentage, promotional expense percentage, product profitability, market segment profitability. All of these things add to revenues and profitability. But more things are required for a good marketing metric system. You should understand customer readiness to buy in terms of metrics. Awareness of the customer's preferences, purchase intention, trial rate, repurchase rate are very important indicators of customer readiness to buy. Then we have customer based metrics which are related to customer complaints, customer satisfaction, ratio of promotion to detractors, customer acquisition costs, new customer gains, repeat customers, customer losses, customer churn, retention rate, customer lifetime value, customer equity, customer profitability, return on customer. It is not enough if your product is profitable to the company. It must be profitable or value building for the customer as well. Then you have distribution metrics. Many products, particularly in FMCG, are distributor and retailer driven. The primary demand occurs at the distributor level and the secondary demand occurs at the retailer level. Primary demand can be captured, but retailer level demand is difficult to be captured. One of the easiest and appropriate ways to ensure that a distribution software is installed that will ensure that there would be continuous monitoring of primary sales, cash inflows into the company, product outflows from the distributor, and therefore generation of an order with cash on an automatic basis. A distribution management system helps in the installation of a pull type demand system, which is much better than the push type demand system on an overall basis. So, when you look at the distribution metrics, you should understand the number of outlets, share in shops handling, per capita sales productivity per distribution point, per capita sales productivity per salesperson, average stock volume, minimum float volume, stock volumes at the distributor level, stock volumes at the retailer level, the volume churn at the retailer level, stock cover in days, out of stock frequency, share of shelf, average sales per point of sale. Communication metrics are also equally important. Spontaneous brand awareness, unaided brand awareness, top of mind brand awareness, prompted, that is aided brand awareness, spontaneous unaided advertising awareness, prompted aided advertising awareness, effective reach, effective frequency, gross rating points, response rate, switching costs are all important metrics of communication. Some of the above are directly measurable, but some need specific research studies on samples to get the results. Marketing's responsibility for long-term success of a company is indeed great. The better and perceptive the marketing function is, the better and accurate the sales function would be. There are three types of marketing excellence which could be there in terms of the best practices: poor, good, and excellent. Product driven marketing is not so great these days. Market driven excellence or function is good, but market driving marketing is the ultimate in terms of marketing excellence. Mass market oriented, one segment covers all kind of marketing is passive. Segment oriented is also passive. What is required today is niche oriented and customer oriented marketing. Products on offer drives the routine marketing. Augmented product offer drives the good marketing. Customer solutions offer enhances the excellence of marketing. An average level of product quality signifies poor marketing. Better than average, good marketing, and legendary quality signifies excellence in marketing. Similarly, average service quality is synonymous with poor marketing strategy and quality. Better than average equivalent to good marketing, and legendary service equivalent to excellent marketing practice. If you are end product oriented, your marketing can be routine, run of the mill. If you are core product oriented, you are good. If you are core competency oriented, you are excellent. If your marketing is functional in its appreciation and orientation as well as execution, that is again routine. If you are process oriented, then you are better off. And if you are outcome oriented, you are excellent. If you are a reactive company, reacting to the competitors, it is no good. If you are benchmarking yourself with competitors all the time, it is good. And if you are trying to have leapfrogging capability over competitors, it is excellent. If you exploit your suppliers, not so good. If you have preferred suppliers or if suppliers prefer you, it is great. And if you have supplier partnership, it is the ultimate. Dealer exploitation is something to be avoided completely. Dealer support to be encouraged. And dealer partnership is again a good ecosystem goal. Being price driven, reducing prices all the time, offering schemes is poor marketing. If you are quality driven, if you are differentiation driven, it's good marketing. If you are value driven, experience driven for the customer, it's excellent marketing. If your speed of response is average, it is again not good. If you are better than average, acceptable. And if you are legendary, you are excellent. The hierarchy based marketing doesn't really reach out to customers as efficiently. The response time is bound to be poor. If you network as a marketing organization, responses will be good. And if you are team working, the practice will be excellent. A vertically integrated hierarchical structure is not helpful. Flattened organization is helpful. Strategic alliances within the organization internally, which each compartment of the organization treating the other compartment as the customer, that would be unbeatable. Being stockholder driven or shareholder driven, that is sales, revenue, and profit driven, is an average routine expectation. If you are driven by all the stakeholders who have a stake in the marketing operations or business operations of the company, it is good. But if you are societally driven, it is excellent. Some of these mean a lot, far beyond the words used. From being product driven to market driving, and from product offer to customer solutions offer, is a great example of this kind of change in the marketing outlook and therefore the change in the performance outcomes. How do you design and manage Salesforce for sales? This is an important organizational issue in every company. Designing the Salesforce is not just putting some people and some territories. We have to have objectives for the Salesforce. We need to have a strategy by which Salesforce would function to conclude the sales transactions. And you should be able to identify the optimal Salesforce structure. Should you have a general manager who is in charge of 3-4 states or a general manager for one state? Should you have not only general manager but also assistant general manager, regional sales manager and assistant sales manager and then sales officer, or should you have a flatter structure? What should be the allocation of locations or retailers to a particular salesperson, and how do you compensate the sales force? Then to manage the sales force, you need to have good recruitment and selection process. You should have good training programs for sales representatives. You should be able to supervise sales representatives on a continuous basis. You should be able to motivate and inspire them in good times as well as in tough times, and you should be able to evaluate sales representatives. And the sales process itself is a very challenging. Although marketing gives an overall canvas and direction, it is ultimately on the salesperson to prospect the customer and qualify the customer, more so in a business to business sales transaction. Then you make a pre-approach. You present and demonstrate your product. You should be able to overcome the objections, and finally you should close the sales with cash accrual and then have follow up and maintenance. The more repeat customers you have, the greater will be the brand value that you are able to build. Planning and management of Salesforce is a key task for the chief marketing officers. Salesforce as a company has originated this practice. What is the performance management process of a company? It starts with the mission of the company and crosses several stages: mission, strategy, plan, execution, performance management. But as far as the Salesforce is concerned, we have certain goals in terms of the standards of performance and in terms of specifying the necessary feedback data. Every visit to a retailer is not just a retail visit for concluding the sales, it is a visit to see how the competition and the company are occupying the shelf space, conversing with the retailer on what is doing well and what is not doing well and what more the company can do, building a relationship with the retailer and various such facets. And as part of that, every sales call could be a rich source of information. Every sales representative is a market researcher in his or her own status. Evaluation of feedback data, explaining gap between actual and given standard of performance is the responsibility of not only the salesperson but also the data mining expert sitting in the corporate office. Then we should take corrective action, and that should set new standards of performance. In this cycle, performance management is a critical component that aligns execution with the mission of the firm. We need a balanced scorecard for salespeople. It helps a company to cope with the multiple KPIs and focus on balanced development of priority ones within the complex sales system. What are the four aspects of a balanced scorecard? Drive customer satisfaction, accomplish high performance in the core, perfect internal process, learn about and plan for the new core, business process, customers, etc. The fourth one, which I mentioned, may be at the company level, but actually it is also at the ground level. The more the salesperson learns about what the competition is doing, what the customers are feeling, that serves as the input for the development of sales. So all these four are important at the company level, SBU level, as well as at the ground level. By implementing the balanced scorecard, marketing will be able to harmonize and optimize both short term and long term performance of a company. So, the company's vision leads to mission, mission leads to goals, and goals leads to KPIs. These KPIs should not be only in terms of physical and financial levels. They should be in terms of the customer satisfaction, high performance, internal process, and new learnings. And then the balanced scorecard for Salesforce emerges. There are several creative ways of computing marketing ROI. Marketing needs investments which will only pay off in future. Business development invests take even longer. There must be ways of measuring ROI as a means of holding marketing and BD accountable for the performance. Accounting is essential, but focus on ROI is misguided for five reasons, says the author of the book, Marketing and the Bottom Line, Tim Ambler. First, very few can calculate ROI with any accuracy. Second, return on investment ignores the longer term. Third, it is inconsistent with corporate financial goals. Fourth, marketers do not really understand ROI the way it should be understood. And fifth, zealous application of ROI will bankrupt the business. Estimation of market potential and share, identification of marketing investments required, measurement of performance, and progress of the profit regularly are important aspects of marketing ROI computation. We have this operational review system as I have outlined, but should marketing have a strategic monitoring system? Yes, indeed, it must have. For the marketing plan to be successful, its constituents, as discussed earlier, must be subject to many questions. What are the changes in the environment? All the variables which we said earlier as impacting the behavior of the customer must be monitored, and how they impact the plans must be understood. We should also see the changes that are being made by major competitors in their objectives and strategies. Who is withdrawing from what market, or who is entering what market? What kind of promotional schemes the competitors are having? Are they going regional, or going there, or are they going linguistic in presentation of their products? What packaging changes they are making from time to time? How they are monitoring and managing their shelf placements. These are all important indicators. Then changes in the industry structure in such attributes as capacity, entry barriers, and substitute products. New opportunities or threats that are derived from changes in the environment, competitive strategies, or the nature of the industry. Changes in the industry's key success factors and customer value proposition. An example here is important. There are mega trends I said in my previous lectures. In today's distribution retail system, the emergence of modern trade is an important mega trend. If you are strong in the emerging modern trade, then you would be successful in the long run. Few years ago, its share in the overall trade was only 5%. Today, it is about 15%, and people are expecting this to go to 20%, 25% in 1 or 2 years. There would be a time when modern trade would occupy 40 to 50% of the total trade. So, generic trade or general trade, which comprises direct sales to various retailers, will be only 50% as opposed to today's situation. And in future years, maybe 10% of generic trade and 10% of modern trade will be taken away by digital trade. So these are the changes that are going to occur in terms of distribution channels, which people should be cognizant of. The consistency or variation of the current strategy of the firm with the preceding changes must also be understood. The answers to the questions as above, which themselves are not exhaustive, will guide effective planning. We also need to have a marketing audit that is done every now and then. This marketing audit should cover the marketing environment in terms of the external variables and the competitor related variables, the continuing logic or otherwise of the objectives and strategy of the company, the resoluteness, the firmness, as also the sharpness of the planning and control system of the firm with reference to the company, its sales force, its products, the customers, the competitors, the intermediaries. All of that needs to be covered by the planning and control system. Then the kind of organization structure, how rigid it is, how flexible it is, how soon you can respond to competitor actions, how flexible we are in restructuring the sales force depending upon the differential market trends and population trends, and how do we ensure that there is inspiration and motivation within the organizational system. These are all the questions that need to be answered. Marketing productivity in terms of the person, in terms of the product and the brand. And in case certain products are subsidized, how do we ensure that that subsidy element is removed is a financial ask. Then how well the various marketing functions, not only the overall sales, marketing and distribution functions, but the some functions within each of these are performing. And what are the learning effects, what are the experience effects, what are the cost effects, and what are the revenue effects. This should be a functional audit as well as a strategic audit covering all aspects comprehensively. If you can see how this pans out in actual life, you need to see the structural shift that is occurring in the India's food industry. In the past, as far as the brand is concerned, the Indian consumer would buy different products from different brands. The consumer used to be brand agnostic. Today, the same consumer seeks to trust a few select brands and buy everything from within these brands. Second, hygiene. There is a bigger premium on trust, empowering consumers to pay more for superior branded and packaged products, in contrast to long-standing price sensitivity, and that used to be translated into the purchase of local unorganized loose products. Now, the switch of unbranded to branded staples is growing at the rate of 3x last year. That's what one of the reputed edible oil and food products companies says. Food hygiene. Following the pandemic, there is a greater attention to eating safe and eating right. This is translating into a larger need for ingredient and resource integrity. Then we have convenience reality. Consumers seek to buy in increasing instances from their residence through online channels or through modern trade formats, through vernacularization of content. These are the changes that are happening. As I said earlier, that corporate social responsibility is very important for marketing. It is not to gain brownie points or to boost sales based on CSR. CSR represents the value system of a company these days. Companies need to differentiate themselves. One way to distinguish one company with the other is in terms of the civic virtues that the company is following. We need a decision framework for sponsorships, improved health coverage, injury prevention, environmental protection, and community contributions. We should have probably a system by which small kirana people are upgraded into better shop network. Maybe we should be providing digital capabilities for the small kirana networks. This is what Reliance is trying to do. Every company with digital ecosystem can also do similar things. Corporate heads and boards need to understand the social pressure and opportunities facing the companies. Companies need also to build a bank of public goodwill to offset potential criticisms. Employees, investors, and partners will be more motivated and loyal when corporate social responsibility glows in the company's value system. While corporate social responsibility is a corporate objective, marketing, as a people and community facing function, must have a lead role in corporate social responsibility. That is very helpful. Again, the previous example of Britannia Homepreneurship, which has been led by the marketing organization, is very explanatory on this very important responsibility of the marketing chief of a company. How do you manage a holistic marketing organization for the long run? We need to have socially oriented marketing, and that will provide strength and sustainability to the firm's business. I'll give you an example. Suppose you are in the foods business, you've got to have cognitive campaigns. You should be able to explain the nutritional values of different foods in a responsible manner. You should be able to demonstrate the importance of conversations around those aspects. You could have action campaigns for different kinds of businesses. You can attract people for mass immunization. You can motivate people to vote yes on positive issues. You can inspire people to donate blood. That is one type of social marketing campaign. You can have behavioral campaigns. You can act against, think against, and express against in reverse order, of course. In terms of demotivating cigarette smoking, demotivating use of hard drugs, demotivating chronic alcoholism. You can run campaigns which are definitely based on these kinds of positive behavioral requirements. Then you can lead value campaigns promoting gender diversity, supporting social equity, promoting equity and inclusion, things like that. While growing foods business, a company can also help enhance wellness and nutrition awareness in the society and bring in a transformation in the healthcare system too. This exemplifies the larger social purpose of marketing. Now I want to take you through the brand plan of a product which is a vitamin D3 product, hypothetical product and hypothetical data. The company would like to promote this brand. How would it promote? It is promoted as the most dependable vitamin D3. What is the background? 8 out of 10 Indians are proved to be vitamin deficient and they require supplementation with vitamin supplements. And Calciplus is a product for that. India's pioneering vitamin 3 brand, over 100 million patient experience, only brand based on textbook and clinical evidence. This would be the initial sign of statements for the brand, and the brand must reflect these characteristics. So, as I explained, we have an organization structure for marketing in pharma: sales, medical representatives, area managers, regional managers, national sales managers. Marketing, brand managers, marketing heads. Key stakeholders: internal, we have discussed; external, patients, doctors, other healthcare professionals, chemists, retailers, stockists, C&F agents. This is the overall internal come external marketing network that needs to support these developments. So the company needs to do a brand plan for Calci Plus, and the brand plan will be done by none other than the product manager, because he has the end-to-end responsibility. So he would or she would detail the brand. What is the brand? What is the generic product that exists in the brand? When is it launched? And in what forms the product has been launched? What are last year's sales and growth? And what is the rank in overall vitamin D market and in the sub-market? What are the key performance indicators in terms of brand sale, market share, prescription share, RX means prescription, and the rank? Again, what are the financials in terms of turnover and growth percentages? What are the strategic choices that the company has in terms of building brand awareness? What are the efforts that are required? Who should be the physicians that are targeted? Who should be the patients who are targeted? What is the broader category in which the contest of the brand is going to take place? How do you maintain, build, or harvest the brand if required, or sub brands of that product? What should be the overall portfolio strategy? And what is the pleasure pain gap? What is the requirement to get higher advertising and promotion, achieve higher sales, and what should be the gross margins that should be the targets? This is the executive summary for a brand plan. The brand positioning pyramid would be in terms of different types of product formulations to meet different kinds of doctors. You will give Calci Plus in granules and drops for pediatric population. You will give Calci Plus in extra strength and in soft gel form for immediate absorption for gynecologists. You will give again Calci Plus in soft gel form for orthopedics, cardiologists, and diabetologists. And it must be a P1 brand, most preferred brand for all the specialties. That's how you would position the brand. You need to have a brand dashboard. It will measure year over year growth. And if you are having a growth rate which is 21% CAGR, you can have a brand goal of doubling your turnover by such and such a year. That's kind of brand mission that would inspire the representatives who are promoting the brand. You also must have budget actual continuously monitored for different sub products of the brand, and it would also go into the smallest SKU that the product would have. In this case, we have the product provided as granules, soft gels, tablets, high strength tablet, drops, syrup, injection in pre-filled syringe form, injection through vial, then dispersible strips, shots, and therefore the total is captured, growth is captured, and market reflection is also captured. How do you define the category? The category of market is the physician's universe. The general physicians, MBBS, non-MBBS, cardiologists, specialists, super specialists, diabetologists, gynecologists, orthopedicians, because all of these have patients who require calcium supplementation. And what should be our target audience? 10% of the people diagnosed for vitamin D3 deficiency of total patient pool, and 190 doctors based on the field force you have. And if you have 400 field offices, by covering 190 doctors, you will be covering 75,000 plus potential doctors. And the molecule, all cholecalciferol competitors in vitamin D, and specific contested brands, Uprise D3, D-Rise, Lumia, Depura, Occital, of several competitors. Then the overall contested market comprises many products of this nature and the companies. And what is my brand value proposition? I am the first vitamin D3 brand in the country. Over 100 million patients experienced Calci Plus. And what is the USP? It is available in granules form with the most modern SN80 technology, and it can be taken directly without milk or water. It also has, through soft gels, SMEDS technology for fast absorption, 8 caps therapy pack for patient compliance. And what is the competing advantage? Again, pioneer vitamin D3 brand with over 100 million patients experience. This is how you determine your positioning. And you look at the patient's journey map, overall patient's pool, and within that who will go to GP, who will go to gynec, who will go to ortho, who will go to diabetes. All of these kinds of data come through years of experience of working in the field, recording the data, pushing it to the central data mining team and getting meaningful results out of that. And what is the treatment choice? Obviously, sun exposure is the best, followed by diet and then supplementation. All of these three could occur together when there is huge vitamin D3 deficiency. Class choice, vitamin D therapy 100%. And brand choice, Calci Plus is at 5.4%. Leader is Uprise D3 at 11.9%. So from third position, you would like to go to the first position. And how do you do that? Wide availability at chemists and stockists based on the prescriptions that are generated based on the road to, and then take care of the poor patient adherence, which is at 50%, and that will help you achieve good journey along with the patient. And how does the funnel work for this kind of product? Origination, next diagnosis, then treatment choice, multi-drug fixed dose combinations, then brand choice, fulfillment, and adherence. Where you make the big mark is to offer a unique combination, and that's one bottleneck which you can overcome with innovative technology. Then the other is in terms of fulfillment, that is making sure that every prescription is honored and provided by the customer. You have to put in your resources and efforts so that the behavior can be changed, and the behavior change occurs at the doctor level, at the patient level, and at the chemist level, so that you get the best possible return on your efforts and investments. And the lowest bar, that is making somebody to choose the brand, the doctor to write your brand after recall, that is the biggest bottleneck. So if you are able to increase that percentage from 6 to 60, your life is made as a marketing executive. But it's not going to be so easy because there are tens of brands which are competing for the same market space. And therefore, you look at the contested category definition. You create a size of the bubble which is trying to capture these multiple segments. And in this category definition is vitamin D3 patients with vitamin D3 therapy, and you define the bubble in which you will be operating, and then you understand the market and month-wise trend. And this is a drill down study that needs to be done to make sure that the product is effectively planned for. Then you do a regional market analysis, which region is contributing to the marketing and sales in terms of volumes and in terms of financials. And depending on the regional strengths and also your company's regional strengths, you will plan a good product market fit. And you also must understand what are the top indications for which the vitamin D3 supplementation is being made. Some of the important things are pain, diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, general weakness, hypothyroidism, pregnancy, fracture, tenderness, spondylitis, dyslipidemia, vitamin deficiency. These are the high ranking indications for a vitamin D3 supplementation. So that's important again for doing a correct positioning of your product. Then you do a specific microanalysis. What are the brand prescription trends by customer vis-a-vis key competitors and market? And you make sure that your indications are aligned with the overall requirements of the vitamin D market. So indications may be scattered, but major indications such as pain related, arthritis related, hypertension related, diabetes related, pregnancy related, fractures related, and vitamin D deficiency related indications cannot be ignored. You have to make sure that the prescription is highly accepted across the chemist line, and because the deficiency is widely presented, patient compliance also must be ensured, and that is the way you have to go about it. Then you have to understand the customer segments attributes. You have to strengthen through primary strategy the brand leadership by bringing into patient's mind that this is India's first vitamin D brand, preferred choice in vitamin D deficiency and supplementation management. The 52-year legacy and the experience of 100 million patients must be brought out. And what should be the secondary strategy? To build different SKUs to meet different customer requirements. Then you should have defensive strategy to focus on the textbook analysis and also clinical evidence to prove how some of these sub brands, be it the granules or be it the soft gels, are seen to provide better clinical and therapeutic efficacy, and that will protect the market share of products which are under attack through new entries. And there would be several key challenges and critical success factors in building a brand plan and going through execution. There could be low growth in certain segments, such as general physicians, in which case you have to regain them and build the segment. You may have low scientific in clinic share of voice, that is, you may not be getting the kind of time you should get, in which case you have to have different methods of communicating to doctors. Involvement of key opinion leaders, events, exhibitions, establishing pioneers brand trust. Then the detailing of competitor could be more sharp than yours. Then you got to do counter detailing with support of evidence on your product. Head to head comparisons are very common in the pharmaceutical industry. So your brand plan should be prepared based on proper clinical evidence to counter those kinds of head to head comparisons. High dependency on trade is also an unfortunate aspect of pharmaceutical marketing. You must have strong brand orientation so that at the retailer level, the asked for brand is seen to be your brand. Then there should be capability build for including detailing and brand promotion. And the sales force must be trained in terms of knowledge acquisition, activity capability, and there must be cycle meetings, there will be quarterly meetings, there need to be speeches, lectures, and exhortations by salespeople, and more importantly, expansion of knowledge of clinical settings by the company's medical offices. All of these things are the critical success factors that are required for surmounting the challenges that are encountered in pharmaceutical marketing. Then you got to do a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths relative to our competitors? What are the weaknesses relative to our competitors? Which regions and in which specialties we are weak? And what kind of points are being held against us? Then what are the opportunities? What are the emerging trends? The dearth of vitamin D within human body system in India, how newer formulations are being accepted across the various prescription levels, and what are the new bodies and organizations from World Health Organization to Indian Medical Associations ex- explaining the importance of vitamin D3 supplementation. What could be the threats and what could be the opportunities must be in balance with each other. Threats must be overcome, opportunities must be exploited. And finally, you must have a brand wheel, which will give you at a glance the brand's spirit, the brand's personality. The essence of the brand's personality in this case is that it is India's first vitamin D3 man. Features unique SN80 technology, convenient granules form. The rationale, it has stability in acidic pH, exerts higher bioavailability, that is, it is bioavailable in the body. It quickly rises in blood serum, and vitamin D3 level cures vitamin D3 deficiency in the body. That is the rationality. What is the emotional plank? 100 million patients have already experienced this product formulation. It has been tried, time tested, and trusted across multiple generations. And what is the single minded proposition? It is a pioneer with vitamin D3 brand with strong brand image and wide availability. So the insights, the emotional drivers, and the single minded proposition work together based on the technological platform to support the single minded proposition of the brand. And ultimate signature line is that it is the pioneer and it is the most dependable vitamin D3 brand in the country. That is how you develop a brand plan and run it through the entire organization, train the people, motivate the people, pivot the detailing plan around the key aspects of the brand plan, and make sure that the brand plan is executed and the requisite revenues are generated. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. This has been a very unique case example that I have outlined to you, and I hope you found this interesting. We'll meet in the next lecture.